Bardock fans, unite. Looks like we got another good Bardock EZA. How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan battle video. In today's video, we have the EZA details for the transforming Super Saiyan Bardock over there on Jp Dokkan. Right, this is the EZA for the First Form Frieza campaign. This is the small campaign in the lead up to Saiyan Day. So we're going to take a look at what he's doing, talk about kind of how he can be useful moving forward as we await his arrival over on Jp Dokkan. So let's go ahead, let's hop on over to Minato's page over here on Twitter. Shout out to him for getting out those translations. So he is now a Revenge and Low Class Warrior, category key 4, HP attack defense 170%. Pretty standard for Dokkan Fest ECA, just the straight 170 across the board. On his 12 key, he's now greatly raising defense as opposed to just regular raising defense. That's a double defense raise essentially on every 12 key. Now in his passive, he's got key 2 attack defense 150%. He has an additional attack 50% when attacking. He gets an additional attack 20% up to 100% and reduces damage received by 10% up to 50 per low class warrior category ally on the team. He has attack 50% and effective against all types when you're facing a wicked bloodline enemy, and he has an additional attack which has a high chance of becoming a super attack when there's another low class warrior attacking in the same turn. So there's a lot going on here, and we'll definitely talk about that, but let's talk about the Super Saiyan form real quick, and then we'll kind of piece it all together. So once transformed, he is key 12. On his 12 key, he's now greatly raising attack and defense for 1 turn, while also greatly lowering the enemy's defense. He has key 3, attack defense 180%. He has effective against all types. He reduces damage received by 18%, and he launches an additional attack which has a 70% chance of becoming a super attack. He has attack 100% when attacking. He has a medium, that's a 30% chance of performing a critical hit and evading enemy's attack, including super attack. He also has key 3 and chance of performing a critical hit and evading enemy's attack, including super attack 18%, and reduces damage received by 18% for 5 turns from the start of turn. So he technically has, 36% damage reduction, as well as a 48% chance to evade. He also launches an additional super attack guaranteed and has guaranteed crits when facing a wicked bloodline enemy. So theoretically, when facing a wicked bloodline enemy, this dude is doing, up to 5 supers, right? So this could be, a really powerful card in the right setting. So let's kind of piece everything all together now, right? Looking at what he's doing in his base, right? This is definitely a lot better than what it was, right? Previously, he was only raising his defense normally, right? Just one singular raise. So now he's getting a greatly raising defense. So that's a 50% raise as opposed to a 30% raise on each super attack. Now he has some additional tech to him, right? He has up to 50% damage reduction per low class warrior. So if you wanted to go full up defense on him, you could fill your team with at least 4 other low class warriors, right? Because it's not excluding self, so he's counting as one of those 10%. So right, on a team with World Tournament Goku, for example, or Kid Goku, right? That's 2 of your slots right there alone. I know that doesn't leave many other options, but this guy could probably be receiving a sub EZA soon. This guy will probably get his EZA, although I don't know that you'd be running them together. Where is she? The Fizz Fasha is still alright. I mean, not the greatest, but she's still good. It's fairly easy to fill that condition, and even when it's not, right? He still can get, it's still pretty easy to give him 20-30% of that damage reduction. It's not make or break, especially when you consider the fact that, yes, he's stacking defense, right? Yes, it's a difficult condition to fill given how low-class warrior is, but realistically, it's not the end of the world because he's going to be in slot 2, stacking his defense by 50%, as well as, you know, you only need at least one other low-class warrior on the turn with him in order, which you'll probably be doing in order to gain his links, right? So he's probably getting 100% attack and defense at a minimum, and that's not including hidden potential. You could be seeing 150% attack and defense every turn if he procs 3 supers per turn, right? Like, looking at his links, right? This is what I want to talk about. Like, with the low-class warrior links, right? He's got, right, other Bardocks, right? The Fizz Super Saiyan Bardock, still pretty good. Can be very useful next to him to fill out some of those links. Like, it's not very difficult to get what you need out of him. So, and that's just to get 3 supers. Once he goes into Super Saiyan, then things become a little more interesting, right? Because the condition is there, but it's not as bad, right? His only condition once going Super Saiyan is just to be facing a Wicked Bloodline enemies, but otherwise you're still launching upwards of 3 supers per turn, as well as having effective against all types. Now you're no longer stacking, but the trade-off is now you've got dodge, now you've got some damage reduction, a little more guaranteed, right? 36%, and you've got effective against all types. So that's very, very helpful. I mean, realistically, a lot of the 9th anniversary content is long-form content. So a character like Bardock with the stacking ability is going to thrive there because of the fact that it's not a simple raised defense. It's greatly raising defense while having a little bit of damage reduction there, right? The only condition that is kind of a bummer, I think, is just the Wicked Bloodline one. But there is a major fight released during the 9th anniversary that he could find himself being useful in, and that is the Frieza one. Now, I don't know why it shows Cell here. It's supposed to be an STR Frieza, but you know, whatever, is what it is. This must be bugged out on the website here, but there is a, there is the Golden Frieza event. It's still a very difficult event. I know a lot of people took, Beast Gohan and Gogeta and Broly into these events, and of course those units are just stomping the crap out of all of the 9th anniversary content, but when you start to veer outside of those units, you can begin to see the difficulty curve on a lot of these events. And not to say that they aren't hard even with those guys, but you can begin to see where other units may come in handy, right? Having a character like Bardock who's got a bunch of guaranteed supers is really helpful in the AGL and the STR phase of this fight. He'll also be helpful in fights like Beast. He may not be so good against Gogeta, just because there's a little more danger for them, but definitely in Beast Gohan, where he's got the time to stack and the final phase is to his advantage, is definitely going to be very, very helpful. So I could definitely see a lot of use for him, right? He links with a lot of really, really decent cards. These guys just got their EZA. He is on Super Saiyans. These guys are a pretty good sub-EZA to support them. The GT Duo, I don't know where this idea to get their washed came from. They're still very good. Great link partner, 50% damage reduction with as well as launching multiple super attacks. They're not great slot 1 units, don't get me wrong. They never were, but they could be a great slot 3 unit filling out links for this guy, right? As well as the Bardock, once his damage reduction kicks in, very, very good stuff. There could be more on the way that could be good linking partners with him. I'm seeing a lot of things I like, and just to kind of prove my point, we've got Halvard here with the defensive calcs, right? This is the bare minimum with 6 stacks, so this assumes 2, maybe 3 turns of double or possibly triple supers, right? 1 million defense by turn 3, right? Roughly. That's assuming a double super on each turn, right? Now, you might get lucky and get more. You might also continue the fight and continue stacking, in which case, this is going even further, right? 1.1 million. You're going to get higher than that as you continue because it's an infinite stack, and, these events are going past turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, right? We're talking a minimum, right? Like Red Zone Broly, for example, at the end of the boss rush, you're getting to the end of that fight probably around turn 12. This guy is going to have a lot of things going for him at that point, right? That damage reduction is minuscule because his defense will be so high. So there's a lot here that I like. I mean, yes, the low-class warrior thing does suck, but it's not the end of the world, and who knows? There may be more low-class warriors buffs coming, right? This guy got an EZA. This dude would be the perfect EZA for the Sync celebration. He could be getting an EZA, in which case he'll be a great addition to fill that. World Tournament Goku is still good to help fill that condition, right? There are options to at least fill the condition to get his extra supers. Maybe not so much on the damage reduction, but again, as we see here, after a couple of turns, it's not so bad. You can easily overcome that, right? And just to see what he's looking like, you know, assuming you get, you know, 2 to 3 supers per turn by the time you transform them, 6 SA effect stacks, this is what you're looking like at the bare minimum of that first transformation turn, assuming you had 6 stacks before you transform. 1.2 million. 1.4 with 40% support, right? Because remember, he's not stacking any further once transformed. So just throwing out there that there is a lot going for him, and, you know, not to immediately write him off. Now, of course, as always, when we get these EZAs, we want to make sure that we are looking at him in game. So, you know, let's wait until he shows up in game and let's give our final judgment then. But so far, I'm liking what I'm seeing, and I'm curious what you are. So, guys, that is it for the video. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, let me know what are your thoughts on the transforming Super Saiyan Bardock EZA. I like what I'm seeing, but I'm curious, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.